All right, so get ready, because today we're diving into a topic that's pretty popular in the running world.
Oh, yeah?
Ice baths.
Yeah.
You've seen all the pictures, right?
Yeah.
Athletes
Yeah.
just like gritting their teeth,
Yeah.
submerged in that ice water.
Yeah.
But is it just for show? Or is this a real recovery strategy?
Yeah.
We're going to figure that out today.
Yeah.
We're separating fact from fiction,
Okay.
diving into the science
Oh.
behind those, frosty plunges,
Right.
and figuring out if they really deserve a spot in your post-run routine.
Awesome.
And to help us out, we have our expert here,
Hey.
who's been really digging into the research
Mm-hmm.
on cold therapy and how it impacts runners.
Pretty hot topic.
Right.
Pun intended.
Okay.
There's a lot of debate about how effective ice baths actually are. We're going to unpack all the research about inflammation, muscle soreness, and how our bodies adapt to training, specifically for runners like you.
Awesome. Yeah, that sounds great. And you know what? This whole deep dive is actually sparked by an article I read
Oh, cool.
on the blog Rocking Ultra,
Okay.
rockingultra.com.
Cool.
They have hundreds of articles on running,
Wow.
from beginner tips to ultramarathon training,
Nice.
and a ton of advice on the mental game.
Right.
So if you're looking to improve your running,
Mm-hmm.
both mentally and physically,
Yeah.
definitely check them out.
Cool.
But first, let's wade into those ice baths. So the big claim is that they reduce soreness, speed up recovery, and maybe even boost performance. What's the thinking behind this icy ritual?
Okay, so the theory is that the cold makes your blood vessels constrict,
Mm-hmm.
which reduces blood flow to the muscles.
Yeah.
And that's supposed to reduce inflammation.
Okay.
Then when you warm up, the blood vessels dilate, and you get this rush of fresh oxygenated blood back into the muscles.
Okay, so it's like a reset button
You could say that.
on your muscles. Interesting. But does the science actually hold up? Is it really that simple?
It's the $1,000,000 question.
Right. Because,
Yeah.
we're not just jumping into freezing water for fun.
Well, some people might.
Yeah, I guess.
But as far as the science goes, it's more complicated than a simple yes or no.
Right.
Some studies do show that it reduces delayed onset muscle soreness,
Mm-hmm.
or DOMS.
Yeah.
You know, that achy feeling you get a day or two after a hard workout.
Yeah.
But it's usually temporary, and the research isn't completely clear.
So maybe not the miracle cure for sore muscles that people say it is.
Exactly. And this is where things get really interesting, especially for runners who care about performance.
Okay.
So while inflammation is uncomfortable, it's actually a crucial part of how our muscles rebuild and get stronger after a workout.
Wait, so you're saying too much chilling could actually backfire?
Potentially, yeah.
Mm.
If you suppress inflammation too much with ice baths, you might actually be hindering your body's natural adaptation to training. This is especially important for runners who are doing a lot of strength training or trying to build muscle.
Yeah.
It's all about finding the right balance.
So it sounds like it's not just about hopping in an ice bath after every single run.
Right.
So then when does it make sense to use them? When are they most beneficial?
That's a great question. Timing is key.
Okay.
After a race or a really intense workout, when you're really sore and fatigued, an ice bath can feel amazing.
Yeah.
It can help you feel better faster, both physically and mentally.
Mm-hmm.
They can also be helpful during peak training weeks, when you're pushing your limits and need to recover quickly for the next tough workout.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And of course, for acute injuries like sprains or strains, cold therapy can be very effective in reducing swelling and pain.
So it's more of a strategic tool.
Exactly. It's not something you need to do every day,
Right.
but it can be a valuable part of your overall recovery strategy when used strategically.
Got it. But what about those of us who just can't stand the thought of an ice bath? What are some other ways to recover effectively without turning into a human popsicle?
Definitely other options out there.
Okay, good.
Active recovery,
Okay.
like gentle walking or cycling,
Yeah.
can be just as effective.
Mm-hmm.
Think of it as gently encouraging blood flow
Okay.
and helping your muscles recover
Right.
without pushing them too hard.
Yeah, that makes sense. Compression garments or boots can also mimic some of the benefits of ice baths
Right.
by promoting circulation and reducing swelling.
Exactly.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
And of course,
Mm-hmm.
never underestimate good old-fashioned rest, sleep, and proper nutrition.
Yeah, those are the foundation of a good recovery plan.
Right, those sound much more appealing to me, honestly.
Yeah.
No offense to the ice bath enthusiasts out there. And speaking of things that might not be so appealing,
Okay.
let's tackle some common ice bath myths.
Mm-hmm.
Do you really need to spend 20 minutes, shivering uncontrollably in there.
That's a big one. Nope, 10 to 15 minutes is usually enough.
Oh, okay.
To get the benefits without risking any negative side effects,
Okay.
like numbness or even frostbite.
Right.
And colder isn't necessarily better either.
Okay.
Aim for water that's around 50 to 60 degrees Fahrenheit.
All right.
You want to feel the cold, but you shouldn't be in agony.
Okay, so it's not about being like an ice warrior. You don't need to prove anything.
Exactly. It's about finding what works for you and your recovery goals.
Right. And, speaking of finding what works, that's something Rocking Ultra really emphasizes.
Oh, yeah.
Finding that balance in your training.
Mm-hmm.
They have so many great articles on everything from nutrition to injury prevention,
Oh, nice.
all geared towards helping runners stay healthy and perform their best. Remember, it's rockingultra.com. Definitely worth checking out.
They have a really holistic approach to running,
Yeah.
which I appreciate. It's
Yeah.
not just about pushing yourself to the limit, but also about taking care of your body and mind.
Exactly. So before we move on to other recovery methods,
Okay.
let's dig a bit deeper into the science behind ice baths
All right.
and how they can impact different types of training.
Cool.
What are some of the nuances that runners should be aware of?
So the effects of ice baths can actually vary depending on your training goals.
Okay.
For example, if you're primarily focused on endurance, the occasional ice bath might be helpful for reducing inflammation and soreness after a long run.
Okay.
But if you're primarily focused on building strength and muscle, the impact of ice baths can be a bit more complex.
Okay.
There's some evidence to suggest that regularly suppressing inflammation with ice baths could potentially interfere with muscle protein synthesis, which is the process that helps your muscles rebuild and grow stronger.
So there's that potential downside we touched on earlier,
Right.
that too much cold could actually slow down muscle growth.
Exactly.
Wow.
And that's why it's generally recommended to avoid ice baths immediately after a strength training session, if your goal is to maximize muscle gains.
That makes sense. So it's all about being strategic and understanding how your body responds to different types of training.
Right.
And speaking of being strategic, the Rocking Ultra article mentioned that ice baths can be especially helpful during peak training weeks,
Oh, yeah.
when you're really pushing your limits. Why is that?
Well, during those intense training blocks, your body is under a lot of stress, and recovery becomes even more crucial.
Right.
An ice bath after a particularly grueling workout can help reduce inflammation and soreness,
Yeah.
allowing you to bounce back faster and tackle the next tough session.
So it's like a tool to manage that overall training load and
Percent.
help you stay on track.
Yeah. It's not a substitute for other recovery strategies,
Right.
like proper sleep, nutrition, and recovery. But it can be a valuable addition to your toolkit.
And speaking of tools, another point Rocky Ultra brought up was the use of ice baths for managing acute injuries.
Yeah.
How did that work?
Well, cold therapy, including ice baths,
Yeah.
can be very effective in the early stages of recovery from an acute injury,
Okay.
like a sprain or strain. It helps reduce swelling and pain,
Yeah.
which can be really beneficial in those first few days after an injury.
So it's about minimizing that initial inflammatory response
Exactly.
to help kickstart the healing process.
Yeah, and in those cases, an ice bath can be a valuable part of your overall treatment plan,
Okay.
alongside things like rest, compression, and elevation, the classic Rice-C protocol.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
But it sounds like it's important to distinguish between using ice baths for acute injuries
Right,
versus just general muscle soreness after a workout.
absolutely. We don't want to suppress the natural healing process too much,
Okay.
especially when it comes to strength training and muscle adaptation.
Right.
It's about finding the right balance between managing inflammation and allowing your body to do its thing.
And, finding that balance seems to be a recurring theme in a lot of Rockin' Ultra's articles. They really emphasize listening to your body
Right.
and understanding what works best for you.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's not about blindly following trends,
Right.
but about being mindful of your individual needs and goals.
Which brings us back to the whole debate surrounding ice baths and their potential impact on muscle growth. What's your take on the research in that area? It seems like there are a lot of different opinions out there.
Yeah, it's a topic that's sparked a lot of discussion and debate. While more research is needed to fully understand the long-term effects of ice baths on muscle growth.
Okay.
There's growing evidence to suggest that regularly using ice baths after strength training could potentially interfere with muscle protein synthesis,
Right.
which is essential for building and repairing muscle tissue.
So it's like putting the brakes on your gains.
Yeah, in a sense.
Potentially.
Right, and that's why many experts now recommend avoiding ice baths immediately after a strength training session,
Okay.
especially if your goal is to maximize muscle hypertrophy or growth.
So maybe save the ice bath for after that long run or race instead.
Exactly. Or if you're dealing with an acute injury,
Right.
where reducing inflammation is the top priority.
Yeah.
It's all about context and understanding your individual needs.
Got it. So it seems like the key takeaway here is that ice baths can be a helpful tool for runners,
Mm-hmm.
but it's important to use them strategically
Right.
and understand the potential drawbacks.
Yeah,
It's not just about mindlessly jumping in a tub of ice water because everyone else is doing it.
I completely agree. It's about being informed,
Right.
making choices that align with your goals, and
Right.
listening to your body.
And if you're looking for more personalized guidance on incorporating ice baths into your training,
Mm-hmm.
or if you just want to learn more about running in general, Rocking Ultra has some fantastic resources on their website, rockingultra.com.
They've articles on everything,
Yeah.
from choosing the right temperature for your ice bath to determining the optimal duration for your cold plunge. They also have a lot of great content on other recovery methods,
Well, awesome.
nutrition, training plans, and mental strategies for runners.
So definitely check them out
Yeah.
if you want to dive deeper into this chilly topic
Mm-hmm.
or any other aspect of running for that matter.
They're a great resource for runners of all levels.
Yeah.
From beginners to seasoned veterans.
Okay.
Hmm.
So we've debunked some myths, explored the science, and even delved into some of the nuances of how ice baths can impact different training goals.
Yeah.
But I think it's time to shift our focus
Okay.
to something that might be a bit more appealing
All right.
to those of us who aren't exactly thrilled by the thought of a freezing cold plunge.
Ha ha.
Let's talk about those alternative recovery methods that don't involve turning into a human icicle.
I'm all for exploring those warmer options.
Mm,
And
okay.
one thing that really resonated with me in that Rockin' Ultra article was their emphasis on the mental side of recovery.
Okay.
They talk about how it's not just about physical strategies, but also about mental well-being and stress management.
That's a great point.
Yeah.
It's easy to get so caught up in the physical demands of running
Yeah,
that we forget about the mental and emotional aspects.
absolutely. And I think Rocking Ultra does a great job of highlighting that holistic approach to running,
Yeah.
encouraging runners to prioritize self-care and listen to their bodies.
And I love that they offer practical tips and strategies
Right.
for managing stress and cultivating a positive mindset,
Yeah,
which can be just as important as any physical recovery technique.
exactly. It's all about finding that balance between pushing yourself and taking care of yourself,
Mm.
both physically and mentally.
And speaking of finding balance,
Okay?
let's dive into some of those alternative recovery methods
Right.
that can help runners achieve that balance.
Cool.
From active recovery to compression therapy, there's a whole world of options out there
Yeah.
that don't involve shivering in a tub of ice water.
I'm excited to explore those options and help our listeners discover new ways to support their running journey and achieve their goals while feeling good and staying healthy.
And of course, we'll continue to weave in insights from Rockin' Ultra as we go,
Yeah.
because they've got a wealth of knowledge on all things running.
Yeah, they really do.
So stay tuned, listeners. We'll be right back after a quick break
Sounds good.
to explore those warmer and fuzzier recovery methods.
Awesome.
Okay, so we're back and ready to explore some recovery methods that don't involve turning into a human popsicle.
Haha.
Because, like, ice baths can have their place,
Mm-hmm.
but they're not exactly everyone's cup of tea.
Definitely not. And the good news is there are a ton of other recovery tools out there
Okay.
that can be just as effective,
Okay, good.
if not more so,
Okay.
depending on your needs and preferences.
So let's start with one that I hear a lot.
Okay.
Active recovery.
Yeah.
What exactly does that involve?
Active recovery is all about engaging in some low-intensity exercise
Okay.
after a hard workout. I think gentle walking, easy cycling, swimming, or even some light yoga.
So you're saying it's not about just like vegging out on the couch after a tough run?
Well, rest is definitely important,
Yeah.
but light activity can actually help you recover faster.
Oh, boy.
It's all about promoting blood flow,
Right.
reducing muscle stiffness, and flushing out metabolic byproducts.
So it's like giving your muscles a little nudge
Exactly.
to get things moving again.
Yeah. And remember that article from Rocking Ultra?
Yeah.
They actually highlight active recovery as one of the most effective
Okay.
and accessible recovery methods
Right.
for runners.
Yeah, they have a point. It's something you can easily incorporate into your routine
Right.
without needing any fancy equipment or a gym membership.
Exactly. It can be as simple as taking a walk around the block after your run or doing some light stretching.
Yeah,
Mm.
I like that. It feels more proactive than just like passively resting.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, sometimes my body just needs to move,
Right.
even after a hard workout.
I get that. And it can be mentally beneficial too.
Okay.
It helps you stay active and engaged
Yeah.
without adding extra stress to your body.
Okay, so active recovery is a great option. What about something like compression therapy?
Okay.
I've seen a lot of runners wearing those compression socks and sleeves.
Yeah.
What's the science behind that?
So compression therapy is all about applying pressure to specific areas of the body,
Okay.
usually using those tight-fitting garments you mentioned,
Yeah.
or devices like compression boots.
Mm-hmm.
The idea is that this pressure can help improve circulation,
Okay.
reduce swelling,
Yeah.
and even speed up the removal of waste products from the muscles.
So it's like giving your muscles a gentle squeeze
That's a great way to put it.
to help them recover faster.
Yeah, and while more research is needed
Okay.
to fully understand all the benefits,
Right.
many athletes, including myself, swear by it, especially for reducing post-workout soreness and fatigue.
Interesting. I've also heard that compression therapy can help prevent injuries,
Yeah.
especially for runners who are prone to shin splints or other lower leg issues.
That's another potential benefit.
Okay.
The compression can help stabilize muscles and joints,
Mm-hmm.
which may reduce the risk of strains or sprains.
So it's like adding an extra layer of support.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, Rocking Ultra
Yes.
over at rockingultra.com
Mm-hmm.
actually has a fantastic article dedicated to compression therapy. They go into detail about the different types of garments and devices available
Okay.
and how to choose the right ones for your needs.
They really do cover all the bases
They do.
when it comes to running.
Yeah,
It sounds like they're a great resource
they are,
for runners of all levels.
for sure. And while we're talking about alternatives,
Yeah.
I have to mention heat therapy.
Oh, interesting. I usually associate heat with relaxation,
Right.
not necessarily recovery.
Yeah. It's definitely relaxing.
Yeah.
But heat can also be a crucial part of recovery. It helps improve blood flow, reduce muscle tension, and even promote tissue healing.
So things like hot baths, saunas, or even just applying a heating pad to sore muscles.
Exactly. And some athletes find that alternating between heat and cold therapy
Right.
can be really effective
Right.
for reducing inflammation and promoting recovery,
Yeah,
like taking a contrast bath where
Right.
you switch between hot and cold water.
that makes sense.
Yeah,
You're basically giving your muscles like a gentle push and pull
I like that analogy.
to help them recover faster.
And guess what? Rock and Ultra
Yeah.
even has a whole section on their website dedicated to heat therapy
Oh, wow.
and its benefits for runners. I'm telling you, they've thought of everything.
I'm sensing a theme here.
Uh-huh.
It sounds like they're a one-stop shop for runners
Yeah.
who want to take their training and recovery
Right.
to the next level.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
They have articles on everything from massage therapy and foam rolling to more advanced techniques like cryotherapy.
Wow. Seems like they've really got it all covered.
Yeah.
And speaking of covering all the bases, I think we've done a pretty thorough deep dive into the world of recovery,
We have.
both the chilly and the not so chilly methods.
Yeah, we've definitely explored a lot,
Yeah.
from the science behind ice baths to a range of alternative recovery strategies.
Right.
I think we've given our listeners a lot to think about.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest takeaway is that recovery isn't just an afterthought. It's an essential part of training.
Yeah,
And it's something that should be personalized to your individual needs and preferences.
I couldn't agree more. Whether you're a fan of ice baths
Right.
or prefer to explore warmer options,
Yeah.
the key is to listen to your body. Pay attention to how you feel.
Yeah.
And make choices that support your overall well-being.
Well said. And for those who want to dive deeper into the world of running and recovery, be sure to check out rockingultra.com.
For sure.
They have a wealth of information
They do.
to help you recover smarter, train more effectively,
Yeah.
and achieve your running goals while staying happy and healthy.
It's a fantastic resource. They have a great community of runners
Yeah.
and a ton of valuable information to help you on your running journey.
And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive into recovery.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us.
Of course.
And until next time, happy running.
See you later.
Okay, so we're back and ready to explore some recovery methods that don't involve turning to a human popsicle.
Right, because let's face it, ice baths, they can have their place,
Yeah.
but not everybody is into them.
No, not really.
And the good news is there are a ton of recovery tools out there
Mhm.
that can be just as effective, if not more so, depending on, what you need and what you prefer.
Okay, cool. So let's start with one that I've heard a lot about as a good alternative,
Okay.
active recovery.
Yeah, active recovery is all about doing some low-intensity exercise
Yeah.
after a hard workout.
Okay.
So think like gentle walking, easy cycling, swimming,
Right.
or even some light yoga.
So you're saying it's not about just completely vegging out on the couch after a tough run.
Well, rest is definitely important,
Yeah, of course.
but some light activity can actually help you recover faster.
Okay.
It's all about promoting blood flow, reducing muscle stiffness, and flushing out those metabolic byproducts.
So it's like kind of giving your muscles a little nudge
Yeah, exactly.
to get things moving again.
And remember that article from Rocking Ultra?
Yeah.
They actually highlight active recovery as one of the most effective and accessible recovery methods for runners.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
It's definitely something that you can easily incorporate into your routine
right.
without needing any special equipment or, a gym membership or anything like that.
Exactly. It can be as simple as taking a walk around the block after your run
Yeah.
or doing some light stretching.
Yeah, I like that. It feels a lot more proactive
Right.
than just passively resting.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, sometimes my body just needs to move even after a hard workout.
I get that. And it can be good for you mentally, too.
Oh.
Helps you stay active and engaged
Yeah.
without adding more stress to your body.
Right. So active recovery is a great option. What about compression therapy?
Okay.
I've seen a lot of runners sporting those compression socks and sleeves.
Yeah.
What's the science behind that?
So compression therapy is all about applying pressure to specific areas of your body,
Okay.
usually using those tight-fitting garments that you mentioned,
Right.
or maybe devices like compression boots.
Okay.
The idea is that the pressure can help improve circulation,
Mhm.
reduce swelling,
Okay.
and even speed up the removal of waste products from your muscles.
It's almost like giving your muscles a gentle squeeze
That's a great way to put it.
to help them recover faster.
And while more research is needed to fully understand all the benefits,
Okay.
a lot of athletes, myself included,
Yeah.
really find it helpful,
Mm-hmm.
especially for reducing soreness and fatigue after a workout.
Interesting. I've also heard that compression therapy can be helpful for preventing injuries,
Yeah.
especially for runners who are prone to shin splints or other lower leg issues.
That's another potential benefit.
Okay.
The compression can help stabilize your muscles and joints, which may reduce your risk of strains or sprains.
So it's like adding an extra layer of support.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And you know what? Rocking Ultra over at rockingultra.com
Yeah.
actually has a great article all about compression therapy.
Real.
They go into detail about the different types of garments and devices available
Oh.
and how to choose the right ones for you.
They really do cover all the bases when it comes to running.
They do.
It sounds like they're an amazing resource for runners of all levels.
They are,
Yeah.
for sure. And while we're talking about alternatives,
Yeah.
we have to mention heat therapy.
Oh, interesting. I usually think of heat for relaxation,
Right.
not so much for recovery.
Well, it's definitely relaxing.
Yeah.
But heat can also be a crucial part of recovery. It helps improve blood flow, reduce muscle tension,
Yeah.
and even promote tissue healing.
So you're talking about things like hot baths,
Yes,
saunas,
yeah.
or even just using a heating pad on sore muscles.
Exactly. And some athletes find that alternating between heat and cold therapy can be really effective
Oh,
for reducing inflammation and promoting recovery.
yeah,
Like taking a contrast bath where you switch back and forth between hot and cold water.
that makes sense. So you're giving your muscles this gentle push and pull
Yeah, I like that analogy.
to help them recover faster.
And guess what? Rockin' Ultra
What?
has a whole section on their website
Oh, wow.
dedicated to heat therapy and its benefits for runners.
Wow. I'm sensing a theme here.
Haha,
They really seem to have thought of everything
they have.
when it comes to running.
Yeah, they're a one-stop shop for runners who want to improve their training and recovery.
Awesome. So it seems like we've done a really thorough deep dive into the world of recovery,
We have.
both the chilly and the not so chilly methods.
We've definitely explored a lot.
From the science behind ice baths to
Yeah.
all these alternative recovery strategies.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we've given our listeners a lot to think about.
I hope so.
Yeah. And I think the biggest takeaway here is that recovery isn't just an afterthought.
Right.
It's a key part of training
Yeah.
and it should be personalized
Mm-hmm.
to your individual needs and what you prefer.
I completely agree. Whether you love ice baths or you prefer something a little warmer.
Yeah.
The important thing is to listen to your body.
Yeah.
Pay attention to how you're feeling
Right.
and make choices that support your overall well-being.
Well said. And for those of you who want to explore even more,
Okay.
be sure to check out rockingultra.com.
Yep.
They have tons of info on running and recovery.
They do. It's a fantastic resource. They have a great community of runners.
Yeah.
And so much valuable info to help you on your running journey.
Awesome. All right, well, that wraps up our deep dive into recovery.
Okay, sounds good.
Thanks for joining us. And until next time, happy running.
See you later.